Hello, and welcome to Hidden Conundrums. In today's video, we are exploring the mysterious sounds that were recorded in a clip that has left believers around the world in a state of shock. Iraq is currently facing one of the worst droughts in decades, with communities dependent on the Tigris and Euphrates rivers for their water supply being left without the means to survive. This is due to a poor management of resources. In an effort to save crops in the Kurdistan region, authorities in charge of the Mosul Dam reservoir drained the reservoir in January. The Euphrates River, which has played a vital role in the development of civilization in West Asia and has provided sustenance to millions in Iraq and Syria, may soon dry up due to 3 consecutive years of low precipitation and reduced river flow. Many Christians are closely monitoring the situation as the Euphrates River is referenced in the Bible in relation to the fall of 4 angels, and as the river is now on the brink of drying up completely. It was discovered that the decision to drain the reservoir not only saved the crops, but also allowed for a valuable archaeological discovery. Archaeologists were given a limited time to study the area before the water returned. They were able to map out what they believed to be a significant city from the Mitanni Empire, dating back to 3,400 years ago. The ancient city, which had been hidden for decades, was revealed after the reservoir was drained. The city had been known to the residents of the area since the construction of the dam in the 1980s. Despite the fact that the city had been destroyed by an earthquake around 1350 BCE, the structures and artifacts that had survived had never been extensively examined. According to a study published in 2018 by Jason Daly in Smithsonian Magazine, certain parts of the metropolis had previously been exposed during a severe drought. During this brief window, researchers were able to investigate a previously undiscovered palace featuring enormous walls measuring 6 feet in thickness and 22 feet in height. The researchers discovered remains of wall paintings in bright shades of red and blue on those walls. However, they did not have enough time to fully map the grounds before the water levels began to rise again. So when the drought returned this year, a team of researchers was quickly assembled and sent to the site. According to a statement from the University of Tübingen, the University of Freiburg provided funding on short notice to allow the researchers to examine as much of the city as possible before it was submerged once more. As a result of the team's efforts, archaeologists now have a clearer understanding of what the ancient metropolis would have looked like. The team charted multiple large buildings and discovered hundreds of artifacts. The structures found include an industrial complex, a fortified structure with walls and towers, and a multi-storied storage building. The large magazine building is particularly noteworthy as it would have been used to store significant quantities of goods. The findings of the excavation indicate that the site was an important center within the Mitanni Empire. According to Ivana Poyes, an assistant professor of archaeology at the University of Freiburg, as well as expedition leader Hassan Ahmed Qasim, chairman of the Kurdistan Archaeology Organization. The team was impressed by the preservation of several of the walls, which were made of sun-dried mud and had been submerged for over 40 years. This is likely due to the earthquake that destroyed the city, turning the upper parts of the walls into rubber and protecting the city for centuries. The team believes that the city was likely an important center for the trade and distribution of goods from all over the region. It is assumed that the recently discovered site is the ancient city of Zikiku, a key center in the Mitanni Empire during the period of 1500 to 1350 BCE. The Mitanni Empire spanned an area of around 1,600 miles, stretching from Zagros Mountains to the Mediterranean Sea. It was one of the various kingdoms and republics established by the Indo-Iranians in Syria and Mesopotamia. Recently, a disturbing footage surfaced of an area that emitted unusual sounds. It was reported that the location was near the Euphrates River and the sound came from underground, coming out through a breach. The local inhabitants believed that the voice was the voice of fallen angels who were imprisoned and making a sound as if they were asking for help. Some have even suggested that the sounds could be linked to biblical references of trapped angels or a beast being unleashed from the earth. Revelations chapter 9 verses 13 through 16 of the Holy Bible states, "The sixth angel sounded his trumpet, and I heard a voice coming from the four horns of the golden altar that is before God. It is said to the sixth angel who had the trumpet, release the four angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates." And the four angels who had been kept ready for this very hour and day and month and year were released to kill a third of mankind. The number of mounted troops was twice 10,000 times 10,000. I heard their number. And continues as the following. "And this is how I saw the horses in my vision and those who rode them. They had breastplates the color of fire, dark blue, and sulfur yellow. And the heads of the horses were like the heads of lions, and out of their mouths came fire, smoke, and sulfur." Despite the plagues of destruction, the remaining people did not turn away from their idol worship or the evil deeds they had committed. They continued to worship false gods made of precious metals and stone and were unable to see, hear, or walk. The passage in Revelation 9 describes the consequences of sin, which often brings turmoil and suffering. The fifth trumpet judgment in particular unleashes a plague of demonic locusts that torment unbelievers with intense agony. These demons are led by a ruler named Apollyon, who is also known as the Destroyer. The passage highlights the destructive nature of sin and the devastating effects it can have on individuals and society as a whole. So what do you think is really happening? Are the end times near? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more interesting and informative content. Until next time, stay curious.